All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z, and we have NFL football tonight.
I can't wait. But before we get going, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge at the very beginning of this program the great Dr. Mickley at Beechwood Dental, because without him, I might not be here right now.
In terms of physically here in the
So
studio
much
or
drama.
in general? Like you could have been extinguished from the earth.
I don't believe that. I would think the former.
Okay. Yeah,
that I
that's
would have
fair.
just not maybe been here. So yesterday, and by the way, don't want to toot my own horn, but toot, playing through. You can't go back to Jarvis on Hard Knocks. It's contagious, playing through injuries. You can get out there, you play. I was missing a tooth. Well, at least a piece of it. And it turned out enough of it that when I had my first sip of cold water after what happened yesterday. So yesterday I was sitting here eating lunch.
Mind your own business. Nice
Chicken
snack.
breast, getting my G's a pea like I always do. It's just a
Yep.
salad and a variety of proteins. That's what we do every day at
Yeah.
lunch. Maybe
Yeah.
a little avocado.
Who
Not
knows?
maybe.
Get
Definitely.
crazy if it's there.
Often use Tabasco as a salad dressing. You should try that out if you want to really spice things up in your life. Bite in this chicken breast. And like the sensation I felt was like I must have bit into a bone that's now lodged in my tooth. That's what it felt like.
Okay.
And I heard it. And I'm putting my tongue in. I'm like, oh, man, it's so sharp. That's got to be what it is. Well, I go and I look in the – this is before the show, mind
I know.
you.
Yeah, pre-show yesterday.
Hours pre-show, as
That's
a matter
right.
of fact.
That's right.
And I go and I look, and I'm like, oh, my God. A part of my lower left back molar is no longer there.
Gone.
Where is it? Don't know. Must have ate it along with the chicken. So then I come back, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, I feel it. I'm like, something's not right here. Something's not great. Call Dr. Mickley. He's like, you could come down. It was like at noon. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I could get there and come back, but then I don't know. And then plus what would be needed to be done, I'd be so numb I wouldn't be able to speak. So
yeah,
no, that's
not
out.
Good. This is a speaking profession.
So I did have a sip of the water, and I'm like, whoa. Like, as
Yeah.
anybody knows, when it gets on that nerve, cold water is in a tooth.
It's a bad spot.
Like, I really feel like if you wanted to get into, like, I know that in some of those very scary movies or scary scenes,
knew you were
teeth
going
are
here.
involved. But, like, if you met, I would confess to a lot of stuff real quickly if you're talking about bad teeth situations for me.
It's funny you say that. I'm watching one of the Narcos. I think it's
Yeah,
Narcos
like,
Mexico,
I would just be like, I'm
and
gonna
like
start
all that
messing with-
torture
dude.
stuff that's in there, and it's like, just do that.
Just do that.
Get right to the
Get one tooth out, get on a nerve, and start dropping cold water on it, tapping it. Oh, my. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's hard right now just to even think about it. So,
does, yeah.
And I'm still a little numb. Little numb.
doing well.
But
You're
we're doing
great.
okay.
Yeah.
So I went in this morning. Dr. Mickley and the great team of Beechwood Dental, they got me in. He didn't really warn me before he gave me the shot, to be perfectly honest, which is probably a good thing because if I knew what was coming, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But they gave me a little local. Then I got the little shot, and I was numbed up good. And then they just went to work, did a little drill, little fill. It turns out it was just a very small chip, no decay, or it was just a freak thing that happened. And he got me all fixed up, and then I was ready to roll. Like I've been in here doing my interviews and rounds and whatnot, and feel great. And I wasn't. Like sleeping last night, my tongue was a little cut up because it was, rubbing on there. And then I don't know if you do this, but this is something that's in my, I don't know what compels me to do these things at times, but like I would just keep taking sips of water, be like, let's see if it hurts this time. Let's see if it hurts now. Does it hurt? Does it still hurt? Yeah.
Like
it does.
self-punishment?
It wasn't punishment. It was
test.
more like hoping that it was going to stop hurting.
Somehow it was going to stop, but it did not, in fact.
No, but now.
Now look at you. You're
good.
ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You could suck down that
Ice
tangerine
cold
right
water.
there.
I would, yeah.
Mandarin, whatever it
Little
is.
mandarin. Or I think I might.
Yeah.
Maybe in a break. But so anyway, thank you, Dr. Mickley. If you guys in this area, you need a dentist, he's the best. Been my dentist, honest to goodness, for well before I was with the Browns, well over a decade. He's great. They've got cool stuff. It's a cool setup. You go there and you're like, oh,
Nice.
this isn't so bad.
Not so bad.
Not so bad.
Not so bad.
Although
That's
I
good.
did almost have a panic attack on the table today because he's like, so he gave me the shot and then he's like, I'm like, well, what are you going to do now?
Yeah, what next?
And he's like, well, we're going to drill in there and see what's going on. And I'm like, you're going to what?
Come again?
I'm like, am I going to hear it? So he pulls it around. It's like, zzz, and I'm like,
Whoa.
I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, just go with the full put me under at that point, I think. Just
No, it was good.
full
It was.
mask.
He had the touch of an angel,
Lovely.
and then now here I am. It's like it was important. You got to Run.
Yeah.
It feels like a tooth even.
Now
Like
you're right back.
It's like a whole new tooth.
You're right back.
I'm back, baby. So is football.
Yeah.
Transition.
You got a coach's show tonight, 7 to 8.
On remote. Come
On
and see
remote.
us.
Strongsville. It's on DVR. I'll DVR it. And then you got the NFL season kicking off tonight. The Super Bowl champion Phillies.
More importantly,
Eagles. Yeah, what? Go
in
ahead. Hello,
between
Gibby.
our show,
Hello, Gibby.
hi, and the coach's show, he's got to pick up Pedro.
Oh!
So he's got house guests.
Holy cow. Are you seeing the
If
flight
that
patterns?
tooth didn't hurt before.
Oh, yeah,
you know
no.
where his flight pattern is right now? Is he en route?
I think he's on time. Everything's set on
Him
time.
and the Great Sue?
Yeah.
They're en route?
Everything's set on time. So, yeah.
You're hoping for a delay. Would have been nice to get a little, maybe miss a flight. Pick you up tomorrow.
Oh, no. We'll see you on down the road. Yeah. Listen, let me tell you something.
That's the best gift. I get that call from my dad en route. I didn't make my connection in Denver. I can't get in until tomorrow. Fantastic.
Yes. I really hate to see it.
Let's go.
There's my father, I guarantee you, with the wine lineup that has been bandied about for tomorrow night. Like, if he had to, he would hitchhike to get here for tomorrow. He is not missing tomorrow.
He would crawl bare-chested under barbed wire on asphalt.
Yes.
To get here for that wine.
That's right.
He's sucking that down.
He would jump off of a diving board into a pool of Suaru cacti or even prickly pear, perhaps.
The prickly pear, that's the
one
where it like grabs you.
Oh, yeah. And then there's the one that
anytime
they
the
have
ball
out there.
goes into there, I don't even I see any of that stuff, that's yours. Enjoy yourself.
There's the one
That's
too
that one
where
that'll grab
it
you.
almost looks like a halo around it, but when you get close you see it's a bazillion of the barbs.
Yeah.
That's that one you want no part of.
Yeah, I'll see on no thanks.
Suaru
no
you'd
thanks.
actually probably be fine with.
Yeah. You ready? We're kicking this thing off tonight. Eagles
Thank
Cowboys.
goodness. I couldn't be more ready. Honest to goodness, I could not be more ready.
I-
Football's a game to be college. The one thing college has right is that football's not a game to be played for exhibition. Like, it's week one.
I couldn't
We're
agree
playing.
more with you, and especially in an NFL where the great Podes, he's getting there. He's getting there. He's getting there. In an NFL with a 17-game regular season,
Soon to be 18.
soon to be 18, you're good. You're good. Like
Back,
the
dude. I'm back.
You're back. The college stuff, no preseason, played a bunch of games that mattered. 12-team playoff, it's fine. Texas is fine.
Yeah.
You're gonna be fine.
Gonna be fine.
So, yeah, I'm with you. It isn't a sport for that, and so you get games that matter. I'm not. I wish it was a different matchup tonight. I wish it wasn't a divisional. I don't know. I don't
mind that at
Phillies-
all.
Yeah, I know. I don't mind. Look, I would love to. I'd have to look at Philly's schedule to find
Most of the games in week one now, and the beginning in
Right.
our division, which I think it should be. I like it.
Yeah, and the Brazil game's a division game.
Yeah.
which it's a little weird to like go play that down there with the Chargers and the Chiefs. Yeah, it's a heavy dose of that.
But not
I'm into
all. You got Detroit, Green Bay, right?
You have Minnesota plays Chicago on Monday Night Football. The
Yeah.
Sunday night game is the Ravens and Bills, which is
Yep.
as good as it gets.
Which is not division.
You do have some cross-conference ones, like you have Houston
wrong?
and the Rams this week.
Does Detroit not play Green Bay? Is that erroneous by me?
No, I think it is, and I think Green Bay's favored by a point and a half.
Sunday afternoon at like 4:00.
Yeah, baby. Go on.
How is
We
that
guessed
not
the
a?
lines.
How is that not a 1 o'clock?
This is what we said yesterday.
Because the Giants commies.
Because the Giants commies. I said this is a way better game. Erroneous.
No, I thought we used Rams Texans as the
I would take that
425.
either.
Rams Texans is also
Also
So all
425.
three of those are 425.
Yeah.
or 405, 420.
Lions Packers is what Nance is getting. So it is the primetime one.
You know,
I
it's
think
on CBS.
Yeah, it's on CBS.
Oh,
Texans Rams I think is better, but I want to go New York market. In a New York market.
No, I think Nance is getting commies.
No,
Who's
that's
getting
the
commies?
Fox
That's
team.
Fox.
Oh,
That's
that's
Fox.
Brady.
Yeah,
That's Brady.
Brady's doing that one.
Nance
Yep.
gets Lions Packers 425
Okay.
in Lambeau Field.
Nance, that guy who steals people's jobs.
He likes to suck down a peach, though. We've
He
seen
does,
that.
man, doesn't even have to be a Mackinac.
No,
He's not.
drooling everywhere.
He's
on
good
that
at something.
He was.
There you go.
Indeed. Oh man.
thing. Jeez,
How about that?
that was aggressive.
That was aggressive.
Okay, I'll take that back. Maybe that was a little too much. My bad.
All right, so you've got that one tonight. Do we pick it now? because of circumstances.
Well, we definitely have
With
to pick
the
it
scores, we have to
before
pick it.
4.
Well,
So,
I don't know
yes.
that it would be good coming out of AB, who's going to join us. Hit
Sure.
your button, Gibba. Hit your button.
I think we
Party
have
phone.
to pick it now.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too, because I don't want to
All right, hold on.
AB is going to join us at 3:40.
Yeah.
Hold on, I need a spreadsheet.
So I don't want to be in a situation where, thanks AB for all of the thoughts on the roster you've curated, and then do nonsense.
We have a Thursday night
We have to do
score.
all these. We haven't. When are we doing all of our? Is that all tomorrow?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow we'll do all the division picks
Tomorrow.
and playoffs and all that. Yeah.
Are we trying to get a guest picker in here tomorrow? Do you want? Am I trying to bring the?
Well, I told
The
you he
scourge
was
of
going to.
San
I said it
Francisco?
yesterday. I go, Pedro's got to be the guest picker to kick off the year.
The only guest picker that is held to our standard and has
Rivers
upheld
Ashen.
the standard is Rivers Ashen.
And
There
she
is-
will-
she was it was an unbelievable run.
Did she? I'm pretty sure she went.
I think she missed like 2. I mean, it was a
14 and 2,
crazy-
13 and
it was
3.
a
Yeah, it was a
crazy,
big week.
Crazy week. Yeah. The last time Pedro did it, I mean, didn't he pick the Niners to beat us on Cleveland Browns Daily?
Yeah, and then
That's
they
right,
lost
and then we won.
outright.
Like-
yeah.
He's on our show.
That's
He
right.
doesn't care.
He doesn't
I
care.
was like, what am I going to have to edit out of this?
He's Pedro.
It's live. You can't do anything.
All right, hold on. I'm clearing everything out here. We got.
You where you need to be?
Oh man. Last year was a pretty flat week 1 for us.
Yeah,
Pretty-
I
because
was
that's
2
'cause the
games
num-
over
although
500. You were even.
Guess
week
the
1.
scores was a home run for you yesterday, so I feel like this could be
Yeah, you crushed that.
All right.
And I know last year we crushed the year again. I mean, I
started
know it
off
was
slow,
massive.
but then you picked up.
Yeah, I think it was
Oh, you
another
want-
massive victory
would you like
for
to know?
us.
Would-
Well, you can do that tomorrow.
Okay,
because we'll do that
yeah,
tomorrow
sure,
before
sure,
we do everything. But yeah, so it's go ahead, Gibbe. It is Cowboys and Eagles tonight.
Cowboys, Eagles, raising banners in Philly. I can't even imagine what the get-in price is for this bad boy.
Highest ticket in the NFL this year is Philly. Average ticket price for the Philadelphia Eagles this year is $475 a ticket. Wow.
Congratulations on all your
And
success.
how much
How
is
about
Dallas
that?
getting?
We're actually the
8.5?
8.5. We're actually have the most affordable ticket in the NFL. Cleveland Browns.
Number
you know what would
1.
have been amazing for this game? If Jarrah had taken Philly up on things and traded a Micah Parsons.
Yeah, they were trying.
Set him there.
Yeah, Schefter reported today that Philly was more than interested.
Sure they were. Yeah. You want to go? You want the
Eagles,
honors?
Cowboys, NBC.
Well, it's a Thursday.
It's a
Thursday.
Is it not?
It is. Last I checked.
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday, kids. Pay attention. For the newbies in the afternoon drive slot.
Micah Parsons
attention.
gone.
Oh, I'm exactly where you are.
They have no chance.
None.
None.
This
is what we call.
What number would be big enough?
I don't know that there could be one.
60?
Mess
If it
with
was-
the eagle, you get the beak, and that's what's going to happen right now.
Couldn't agree more.
If you change beak, B-E-A-K, one letter to B-E-A-T, beat, it is going to be a beat down. Eagles. It's going to be good because Luka woke up at 3:45 last night. First time he's been up in the middle of the night in a
Little
long
fella.
time.
Little
Yeah,
fella.
so I'm tired. I'm not going to be watching this in the second half, most
Sure.
likely.
No.
Pedro, sit on the couch. Don't do anything too crazy
Yeah.
in the wine room. Let's wait till tomorrow when I go
He's
to bed.
on West Coast time, too.
I know,
He's
it's gonna be- I know, it's gonna be
he's gonna
nuts.
up till 1 in the morning.
Yeah, just
Sucking
I'm gonna
down
come. It's
Super
gonna be like
Tuscans.
it's gonna be like Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm gonna come out. There's gonna be like bottles everywhere. Bottom of his feet are dark colored from dirt and wine sediment that he's dancing in.
There's no question.
Eagles 47.
Yep.
Cowboys 3
Same.
on a
Same.
Thursday.
On a Thursday. Yep. That's
right.
the same exact. I was hoping that's how you'd go, and that's how I see it as well, my friend.
That's right.
Practice just about to wrap up here. It'll wrap up here in a couple of minutes. Mike Hall, this is big news. Mike Hall returned to practice today for the first time since undergoing surgery in the offseason. That is a massive development, buddy. to get
Yeah,
him
I
back
love
out
it.
of the field.
And, we'll see if he's ready for a game, but even if you get a few reps out of him, Mike Hall was very productive last year. Almost got a quarterback hit per game that he played. Had a sack, obviously, in those 8 games. I'm very bullish on Mike Hall. I'm a Mike Hall fan in terms of what I think he brings to this defense. I think it's amazing. We're talking about how great the defensive line. We haven't even really talked about him. I am very excited. I think that would be big. And the weakness of this team is the interior of its offensive line. And so it makes me feel like there's no reason why we can't go out there and handle this line and thus disrupt Joe Burrow.
Yeah, massive development there for Mike Hall back in the mix. Who knows what it can be for Sunday, but just getting him back is massive. Still no update on Quinshon Judkins. That you hope that you get some sort of answer on this, but now we sit on a Thursday and we haven't had an update. We'll ask Andrew about it in 20 minutes or so when he joins us, but to this point we've not heard anything on Quinshon in a long time.
No, we have not.
It's been multiple weeks with nothing on that.
One thing we are waiting on from the team, no Myles Garrett at practice today during the media session. Same with DeAndre Carter and Easton Mascarenas-Arnold working off to the side.
Okay.
The Myles thing is noteworthy for sure, that he was not at the practice when the media was, or in the practice that was open. I guess that's something we can ask Andrew about as well in 25 minutes or so when he drops by in terms of where Myles was at the start of practice today. So something to watch for on that side of things. And speaking of AB, he will join us here on this program coming up at 3:40. Andrew Berry, we're going to figure out what he makes of this roster, what he makes of certainly an update on Quinshon Judkins, and just maybe the plan for the quarterback position as the season goes along. Of course, most of those things will be malleable, but something to look forward to there. Andrew Berry going to join us at 4 o'clock in the second hour of the program. It is a match-up day, so our defense versus the Bengals offense, and then the opposite, our offense against the Bengals defense. You'll have both of those things to look forward to, which is nice. It is a mailbag Thursday. Get your questions in on that at Browns_Daily or on the YouTube stream. We will get to those. Some fantasy advice for Dr. Z. It's all getting real now, kids. NFL is back. Week 1 is here. Game 1 is tonight. Cowboys and defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. We'll do the matchup coming up next. Cleveland Browns defense versus a Bengals offense. This is your strength versus strength matchup. We will get into that coming up next to get you set. We're off and running. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, we got something exciting here. Play the Ohio Lottery's new $5 Win Big scratch off for a chance to win $100K. And if you don't win, just scan that ticket for a second chance to win big. Enter the Big Game Second Chance promotion. Win great pro football prizes, including Cleveland game tickets and even tickets to the biggest game of the year. If football is your passion, Win Big is your game. Only from the Ohio Lottery. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly. Go to your favorite Ohio Lottery retailer today. Get your hands on this new $5 scratch off. It's called Win Big. You can win $100,000. If you don't, you can enter to win game tickets and other prizes. Get yours today at your favorite Ohio Lottery retailer. Remember, play responsibly. Time now for our first matchup of the season. It is presented by Ballybet Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. It is the Browns defense matching up against this Bengals offense. Here is the man in charge of coordinating that defense. It is Jim Schwartz.
All right, what can I be evasive about?
Yes, down.
Glowing generalities.
Obviously, you talk about Joe, we talk about, the receivers, but what has Chase Brown added to, what dimension has he sort of added to that Bengals offense?
Yeah, he gives them a big play running back. The guy's got good speed. He's developed every year. He's been there. He's earned trust. And, they've been a bit of a one-dimensional team over the last couple years. Look, there's a big disparity in their rankings and in passing game and rush game, and I'm sure they want to rectify that. So he's a big part of that. They brought in P. Ryan to be in protection in some third down situations, and he's good in the passing game. And they drafted a guy too, so they've made a big commitment to the running game.
Has two new starters on the offensive line, like the Bengals. How much does that factor into your game plan?
Well, the biggest thing is our defensive line is much, much improved over last year, and I think we've got back to our personality. We saw it in. I think we started seeing it back in OTAs. We showed good signs of it in training camp, and I think even though we didn't have our guys on the field a lot during preseason games, we saw it in the practices. And we saw it in the preseason games. And that's a huge, huge thing for us because, it's hard to win versus Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Yosevas and Gesicki and those guys with a quarterback like, Burrow. So, we have to really we have to win up front, and that's a big part of it. Guys like Mason Graham we brought in here to give us interior rush, brought in guys like Malik Collins to give us interior rush. Those are big things. We know they can help on the outside part of the field with guys like Miles. They can chip. They can leave tight ends into protection. But our ability to win inside in this game is going to go a long way to coming out with a win because the ball comes out so fast and, shortest distance between 2 points, straight line, and those guys are closer to the play. So those guys need to step up for us. They need to win those matchups. And, when we play our best, our D-line leads us there as our engine.
I know before the summer you talked about Mason and some of the growing things with him and getting him in the system. How do you think you guys navigated that, and how do you feel going into this first NFL?
Yeah, I'm cautiously, I get maybe cautiously guardedly optimistic because I haven't really thought about that in a while, particularly the way that he played against the Rams, the way he practiced against Philly. I think it's in his body now. We see the quickness. He made a big effort to change his body type to be a little bit more lean and dropped a little bit of weight, but his movement skills have been outstanding. He's really good with his hands, and he just has really good instincts. So, I'm guardedly optimistic. I think there's always a tendency to sometimes regress in the heat of battle, but I think he's shown that he's got it in there, and I was very encouraged by what we saw in the preseason, particularly, like I said, particularly Philly and then the Rams game.
On the move and inside, third obvious passing. But is Mason Graham a pretty much three-down player for you?
Well, we'll see. We have a lot of different rush groups. We'll have some rush groups where we have 3 defensive ends. We'll have some rush groups where we have 2 defensive tackles in there. I won't talk a whole lot about the matchups, but we also have different outside rushers. You know, we have guys that are more power, guys that are more speed, and we're going to try to use all those guys in different roles and, you know, just a little bit like a pitcher with different pitches, you know, just keep throwing different things out there and keep them fresh and keep them in good position to, you know, sort of wear out the opponent. The one constant on pretty much any third down that we'll have, 95 will be out there. But after that, we'll have a lot of different things. And, you know, I think that all those guys deserve chances. They've all shown that they can win. They all have a little different skill set, and I think that'll benefit us.
Schwartz has been making such a big impact throughout the summer. Now looking into week one, he wore the green dot in the preseason, in training camp. What makes him ready for the moment to step in there and be a leader as a rookie?
Yeah, I mean, I'd sort of flip that question around and say what makes him not capable of doing that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just you know, every hurdle we've given him, he's jumped. He hasn't batted an eye. He has great instincts. He has great eyes for the football. You know, leads our defense in interceptions through training camp and, you know, things like that. He's just wired to the ball. He's big. He's physical. You know, green dot. You know, relaying the call. You know, I think we might overestimate like that, but his play and his communication and those kind of things are going to be what sort of creates his leadership on the field.
All right, time for that matchup. This is strength versus strength. As I mentioned, Dr. Z is here for the breakdown. This is what the price of admission is for, this offense versus this defense.
Well, I plan on being evasive and speaking in glowing generalities. What an incredible way to open a press conference. It might be the best I've ever heard, honestly.
We've been here a while. In terms of like fun.
Yeah,
yeah. It's really good. It's a great job.
Yeah. And
it's a very great
very
job.
on brand for those of you who know Jim Schwartz. All right. Here we go. Last year, this was the number one passing offense in the NFL. They produced their top 10 basically in passing offense, total offense, points per game. They averaged 27.8 points per game. Only threw 9 interceptions, so that's top 10 as well. 22.1 first downs a game, that's top 10. On third down, 47% conversions, that's 5th in the league. Red zone, 64% touchdowns, 5th in the league. So this is an elite offense, and it's led by Joe Burrow. 2-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Comeback Player of the Year. That's pretty incredible going into his 6th season to be a 2-time Comeback Player of the Year. Joe Burrow last year led the NFL, as we talked about, was 460 of 652. 652 pass attempts. He completed 460 passes. It used to be if you threw 500 passes in a season, that was like an outrageous number.
Damn near completed 500.
460 completions, threw for 4,918 yards, 43 touchdowns, 9 picks, 70.6% completions. He is very, very good. Just 38-30-1 as a starter all time. I would not have had that for a guy that has a quarterback rating of 101.2 for his career. Last year, it was incredible, 108.5. He's thrown 140 touchdowns, 46 picks, 19,001 yards. He'll go over the 20,000-yard mark this season, and his 68.6% completion percentage is the all-time leader in NFL history. He's got 26 300-yard games, 7 400-yard games, 1 500-yard game. He's had 6 fourth-quarter comebacks, 9 game-winning drives. And here's the fun one. We talked about this yesterday, but Browns have not allowed a 300-yard passer in 28 straight games. That is the longest such streak in the National Football League. When he throws it, he's got, people like to say arguably, but I'm not sure it is arguably.
No.
I think it might be inarguably the best tandem in the National Football League. You've got Jamar Chase, who won the Triple Crown last year, 127 catches, 1,708 yards, 17 touchdowns. He's got over 1,000 yards all 4 seasons. 4 seasons in the NFL, he's got 5,425 yards and 46 touchdowns. And 4 seasons. 5,425 yards, so that is 1,400 divided by 4. Roughly, he's averaging 1,350 yards and 11.5 touchdowns per season.
It's crazy, and it's
that's pretty good.
What I think is really interesting is that so much of the debate for them was Penei Sewell or Jamar, and they both are great. They're both all pros. Like, I think they make the right choice because obviously this has worked for them. But Penei Sewell's been a stud for Detroit.
Yeah.
Stud.
Yes.
Now
you would wonder, you could say perhaps that's been, you never know. Because to me, it feels like Joe Burrow's going to elevate whomever he's with.
Yeah. There's a level, though, that Chase can get to that, like, him and Jefferson are the only ones who
Yeah,
can
they're the
get
best
there.
in the league.
Yeah.
And then you got T. Higgins, who was limited to 12 games a year ago, but that didn't stop him from putting up 73 catches, 911 yards, and a career-high 10 touchdowns, 7 of which came week 11 to 18, which is the most in the NFL during that span. By the way, both of these guys scored. This was their numbers against the Browns last year. Chase, 11 catches, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. Higgins, 12, 140, and 2 touchdowns as well. Both of them got new contracts in the offseason. For Chase, 4 years, $161 million. For Higgins, 4 years, $115 million. Their third receiver, another guy with some size, 6'3", 210 out of Princeton, Andre Yosivach. And he had a career year last year, 36 catches, 479 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's got 10 touchdowns in 2 NFL seasons. 3 of those have come in his 4 games against the Cleveland Browns. When they run it, it's going to be Chase Brown, who averaged 105 total yards per game in his 10 starts last year, ended up producing 1,350 total yards and 11 touchdowns. He's pretty darn good. They brought back Samaje Perine. They drafted Taj Brooks in the 6th round out of Cincinnati. And then they've got now a bevy of tight ends, 5 of them, in fact, on the roster. Drew Sample, more of a blocker, was a 2nd-round pick back in 2019. Mike Gesicki back with them last year, 65 catches, 665 yards, 2 touchdowns. They bring in Noah Fant, a former 1st-round pick of the Denver Broncos, who had 48 catches and 500 yards and has 4 500-plus yard seasons under his belt. So, along with Tanner Hudson and Cam Grandy. So they can go 2 tight ends with you now. They can go a little 12 personnel, and that'll be interesting to see if they do that because both Fant and Gesicki can run.
Yep.
And they're big guys who can run. So they could have, could be out there with Chase, Higgins, Fant, Gesicki. That's pretty darn good. And if you think about it, that's first early in the 2nd round, another 1st rounder, and another early 2nd rounder. So talent, guys that were targeted early.
And they really believe Yosivach is like a number 2. They think he's like at that type of camp. I was talking to Ben Baby this morning. He's like, he could be the number 2 receiver on this team.
Yeah, and this is a team that can play a lot of size down in the red zone with you. If they wanted to do, sometimes they line up Chase in the backfield, split them out so they go empty, and you'd have Chase at 6 foot. Then you got 6'4" Higgins, 6'3" Yosivach, 6'6" Gesicki, and 6'4" Noah Fant. So they can play a little bit of basketball down there near the goal line. Now, the weakness for this team, it's their offensive line. That's what it is. It's the offensive line. Last year, Burrow was sacked 48 times. 48 times. Orlando Brown's the left tackle, 4-time Pro Bowler Dylan Fairchild, who is this is the first game for him, 3rd-round pick out of Georgia, 2-time state high school wrestling champ, went undefeated in high school as a wrestler.
Dang.
So I think that means he's pretty good.
Means he's tough, yeah.
Yeah, tough guy. Ted Karras, the Super Bowl champion from New England, who's got 90. This will be a 100th start of his career as the center. And then Lucas Patrick is going to get the start at right guard. 64 starts in his career coming into the season. This is his 4th team in the last 5 seasons. If you're good, that doesn't typically happen.
To your point on that one, a lot of concern about his play throughout camp and in the preseason, and they still don't think they have that totally settled.
No, and when you got to deal with Mason Graham and Malik Collins and Miles and Alex Wright and Isaiah McGuire and Shelby Harris and Aiden Huntington and Mike Hall, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, that's a problem. And then Amarius Mims, their 1st-rounder from last year, started 13 games, played in 15, gave up 33 pressures and 4 sacks in his rookie season. Are they optimistic that he's kind of turned the corner or no?
Patrick?
No.
Oh,
Amarius Mims.
Yeah, I think they think he's the strength of the defense of the line, which that'll tell you all you need to know about the operation. No, they're not optimistic. I mean, they see it the way you do.
Okay.
That this offensive line is a problem. The other position group, and you'll get to it a little bit later, that is a problem for them is at linebacker. And I don't think that they didn't fully wrap their heads around what those losses could be. But no, this offensive line.
Why'd they let Jermaine Pratt go?
It's a great question.
We were, by the way.
So their operation.
That's
old school.
Yeah, we were all on Jermaine Pratt.
We were, yeah.
Leading tackler.
That's old school, yeah.
Real quick, gentlemen, from the Cleveland Browns PR department. Myles Garrett out today with a hip injury.
Jeez.
That's not ideal.
No. On a Thursday?
What time did Schwartz talk?
He talked before practice, like at 1:20.
But after walkthrough?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel better.
Yeah, unless,
that press
what
conference
could have
was
happened?
pretty much all about, there was a lot of Myles Garrett talk. But one thing
sure
that will be a
was.
constant is 95 is out there. So
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm not worried.
All right. AB will be here in
We'll ask him
5
if he's
minutes
worried.
or so,
Yeah.
allegedly, and then we'll ask him.
We'll ask him
if we should be.
So basically, look, Browns. This isn't a team with that dynamic slot receiver, although Yosavash is very good. Can Miles Harden match him? That'll be something that we have to watch. He's giving up a lot of size. Miles Harden 5'11", Yosavash 6'3". If in fact he's started, if he's not, Cam Mitchell also 5'11". Denzel and Greg, that's good. We don't have our 6'2", 6'3" guy that we like out there in MJ Emerson to deal with T. Higgins. But this is going to be a game that's going to be all about the front dominating their line, forcing the ball out early, and then we need to rally to the ball and tackle with Schlesinger, Devin Bush, Diabate, Jerome Baker, whoever's out there at linebacker, Delpit, Rayshon Jenkins, who will be that dime safety. Those guys rally to the football and tackle. And if we do that, I think we can limit this football team. When we play good defense against Joe Burrow, he's only won once in our building in his career, and it was last year. We have a very good chance. But this is going to be the matchup. You're not going to stop them. You're not going to eliminate them as an offense. You are going to have to slow them down. And really what will be considered winning is turning some 7s into 3s. Those 4-point plays in the red zone.
Don't you think almost any drive that ends in something other than a touchdown is a win?
Yeah.
I mean, anything that's field goals,
field
punts,
goals or
all
wins.
that, field goals are wins against this team. That's especially, the way they're humming and the way that they really believe that their approach this preseason will give them results. This is the most pressure-packed opener of all of them because of the way that they approached it.
I'm going to tell you something right now. This is my thought on it. And this is just going to be a personal anecdote that may have zero relevance at all.
All right.
A few weeks ago, I played with Kid.
The kid.
Kid and Simsy and the great Kato. We go out to Tanglewood. Have a nice run. I'm on fire. And I'd been playing.
Yeah.
I'm on fire. Feeling great. Shot a great number. Very pleased with the round. Don't touch a club.
Okay.
Now, I guess the difference is they're practicing still, but I don't touch a club for a few weeks. And then I go out on Friday, and it was not as good. It didn't feel – I wasn't in the same rhythm that I was in from weeks before.
Yeah.
Then.
Right. Yeah. That's the key, though, to it, is that D-line –
our D-line has to wreck
the
shop. game. And
they should.
Quite frankly.
They should. This is not an offensive line that is built to hold up to it, so they're going to do a bunch of stuff to get it out of Burrow's hands quickly, and that'll be it. And I think if you just look at it for anything that isn't a touchdown is a win. I think that's kind of the process of all of that. The man in charge of putting this roster together is going to join us coming up next. Before we hear from AB, though, feel your game day cooler with the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea, hard iced tea, smooth, real brewed tea, 5% kick of alcohol. Look for the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly. Andrew Berry, General Manager, going to join us coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Of your Cleveland Browns. In studio, we are graced by the presence of Brown General Manager Andrew Berry. He joins us live in studio. We've got a lot of real work we got to cover with you in terms of where we are with everything, but just in generalities, week one, here we go. You've spent all of this time curating this roster, the training camp, all of it, and now we're here. What are these days and these nights like for you leading up to it?
Say this, there's a ton of excitement around our building. We're looking forward to week one. We get our fans back at our home stadium for what seems like ages, and we know they're going to be loud. We know they're going to be cheering on our guys. We have our in-state division rival. So there's just a lot of excitement and anticipation to get the 2025 season started.
And I don't know, we were talking about, I don't know if this just felt like a longer off season than normal, but it felt very, very like, I feel like we were in Charlotte a year ago. Yeah. And now we're here. You get to see games and see this thing come together. I got to ask you, when you kind of sat back after the draft, after the undrafted free agent period, did you envision a roster that could have 12 rookies on it and potentially, we'll get to Quinshon in a second, potentially 13 at some point even?
I'd say we typically after the draft, we don't go with necessarily in with any preconceived notions.
Sure.
Because there are a number of roster spots and then probably just as importantly or more importantly roles to be decided in the in the succeeding months.
Sure.
So we don't necessarily say, okay, hey, look, this is how the 53 is going to be cut. There's just a lot of unknown as you exit the bulk of the player acquisition cycle. And so I'd say that we had a number of pleasant surprises, some players that maybe surprised us in a different direction, but we are pleased with this young crop of players and particularly this rookie class with what we've seen so far. So we're excited to kind of walk the journey with them as we go through the year.
And speaking of that, the one who isn't here is Quinshon. Is there an update that you can share for us and the fans on where we are with that?
Yeah, we, much like our fans, are anxious to have, Quinshon in soon. And we're hopeful that's the case, but that's all I can say at this point.
Yeah, going through that. And then
we're all hopeful.
We're all hopeful
Come
to
on.
get 10 back in the
Let
mix.
us hug you.
And then Miles today out of practice. And we saw this. We just read the statement from the organization. Just anything with Miles to be concerned about.
Yeah. So this is the time of year where I defer all injury questions to Kevin Stefanski. No different than our players. So you guys can ask him tomorrow at his press conference.
Big smile.
Well, you got a coach's show tonight.
Yeah, we got a coach's show tonight. We do have a coach's show tonight.
You can get that answer tonight, maybe on that side of things.
We might actually have to. We might have to
with
use the time machine and get that question in there. Going back, kind of just talking about the rookies, and you're excited to see them, the draft picks, and then pleasant surprise. I mean, Aiden Huntington couldn't be more of a joy. Mm-hmm. Gage Larvidan, total joy, and there were others. Easton Mascarenas Arnold running all over the place. Donovan McMillan, Dom Jones. You had these guys come and make this football team. But is this have you been around a roster like this in all your time here, where you've got? Let's use the number 12. We talked about 12 rookies. We got 12 Pro Bowl legit guys as well, and it's kind of an interesting mix of a super established talent and youth.
I'll be honest, I never really thought of the roster composition in that light, so I'm trying to process as you framed it that way.
Sure.
I didn't really think of it that way. I don't know necessarily the exact numbers. I guess as I think through my career, maybe the most similar would have been 2012 in Indianapolis, where there were a number of vets that had been on the roster. When Peyton was the quarterback, you had Reggie, you had Robert, you had Dwight, you had those guys, some of those vets, but also a relatively large rookie class that was thrown into significant roles. Obviously, Andrew was the headliner, but you had Kobe Fleener, Dwayne Allen, T.Y. Hilton,
That's right.
Vic Ballard, guys like that. So I don't. I wouldn't draw maybe a direct parallel or direct maybe connection with some of these other teams, but that's probably the best example that I could think of at least that I've experienced in my career.
And it's exciting because when you look at in some way some of the salary cap issues that have arisen with this football team for a variety of reasons, you need that young influx of talent. And this rookie class, it feels like day one, Mason, Carson, Harold Fannin, Dylan, Quinshon when he comes back. Potentially, some other guys that we got in here, Isaiah Bond late. These guys are going to play a big role, hopefully, for this football team.
Yeah, I'd say, so number one, we have a long way to go with all these guys.
Of course.
And we are excited that, we are going to have, new young faces in contributors roles, for the team. But we also don't want to get ahead of our skis. We're going to take it where our focus is on Cincinnati, 1 week at a time, and making sure that these guys improve over the course of the season.
Is there a moment, though, from your vantage point? I just think of a guy like Carson, who you guys take at the top of the second round, who, probably there aren't a whole lot of Browns fans who watched a whole lot of UCLA football. But you and I talked this summer. We had the event down at the stadium, and we had those guys in there, and it was like you guys had a feeling about him, and then you get to camp, and he validates all of it. I mean, he's been one of these stories. He was everywhere all camp long. That instance where you identify somebody in a process, you draft them, and then they validate. And again, we haven't played games and all of that, but it's okay to be excited about somebody who's been pretty dang good over the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, Carson he's really passed all the tests up until this point. We are optimistic. We're optimistic with this class in general. That all being said, we do realize that Sunday is like the true measuring stick for us, and we want to make sure that continues to transfer once we get to regular season games. With any young player, you don't expect that individual to be perfect, right off the jump, but we do think that we have a talented group, and we're looking for steady progress as we go through the year.
Just real quick to kind of update, it's the people on, we haven't talked to you since the 53, but there were some moves that were made at the 53 and then right after, bringing in KT Leviston, the tackle from the Rams, in a trade, and then we signed Rocket Sanders, the running back, and Jarek Bernard Converse, the cornerback. What was it about those three guys that you said, yeah, we need them in our program?
Yeah, so starting with KT, we always believe in getting as many big guys on the line of scrimmage as we can on both sides of the ball. And when we went through our preseason scouting process with our pro group, excuse me, he was a player that we identified that we thought was a really good young, talented player. He missed pretty much all of his rookie year. He had a high ankle sprain, and then they kind of brought him back for 3 weeks of practice, but he never really saw preseason action or regular season action. Contrast that to this year. He played almost every snap in the preseason for them and played really good at left tackle. Power player who can get movement, really smart, great makeup. And we felt like he was the top tackle who could come available during the preseason process, on our board. And when we had the opportunity to acquire him, we did, and we're excited with what we've seen so far. With Rocket, he was a player that we had identified in this year's undrafted free agent process. We loved his size. We loved his speed. He's good in the pass game, which is usually hard for like a bigger back. Excuse me. And
get the boss a water. Water for the boss. Yeah.
Get a water here. Come on.
Get a water for the boss, G-Man. Where's the G-Man?
Thank you.
Crying out loud. Guy's the boss.
Spare our audience's ears, right? That type of thing. So give me a moment, please.
Give a sip here, guys. I mean, G-Man, you got one job.
But with
shrapnel, G-Man.
I put it all on G-Man.
G-Man's closest to the refrigerator. Let's be fair.
I just want to. It's good for G-Man to catch some shrapnel every once in a while. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
But with Rocket, in addition to being like a size back that's pretty good in the passing game, we love the kid as well. Really strong makeup. He's really caught on quickly with our offense, and we just felt like his size speed profile would fit really well. And then lastly, JBC at corner. We have behind Denzel and Greg. We do have a lot of young players who have to step up to opportunity this year, and JBC would also be in that role. He longer athletic quarter, can run, kind of fits our press man coverage scheme on the outside. And so, this was a player that we thought had the tools and makeup where he could be successful in our defense. And, we looked at that as a place where we could be opportunistic.
Isn't football the dangest thing? I mean, you think about it, like just think about it from the quarterback position. Some of the most fun we've had in this organization was the run Joe was on a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. First thing we do in the offseason is Kenny, see the value there, former first-round pick. Obviously, we know what's happened since then. Joe comes in. We have 4 quarterbacks in camp. At one point, we had 5. All of them are banged up except the 40-year-old. Somehow he's the healthy one, and he's going to get the start. And it's just – It's such a warm blanket to have him around. But that whole process, how you guys handled the room, kind of walk people through it, if you would, in terms of where we got to where we are now.
Yeah, so one of the things that we talked about coming out of last season, given the changes that we were going to make in the quarterback room, is the ability to develop and evaluate a room with 4 players. We knew we were going to go to camp with 4 players. We knew we were going to carry 3, or that was the plan initially, 3. And then really just how the offseason unfolded, we felt like we had 4 players that that we felt were 53-man worthy. And so a big way of how we structured and redesigned our practices is something that the offense staff calls 2-spotting. And it's essentially like what you see in college football, where you divide the team in half. It allows 2 quarterbacks to run one field, 2 quarterbacks to run the other, and that way everybody's able to get the reps that they need, and we'll be able to both evaluate and develop players at the position. That was a huge component of our spring and early on in camp. And then obviously, we didn't have to carry it necessarily forward because unfortunately, someone was injured throughout camp, where it kind of worked itself out. Really with the exception of Kenny, because we didn't get a chance to see much of Kenny, but it worked itself out for the other players where there was just plenty of time on task, plenty of reps where we could make an evaluation and ultimately set the depth chart.
And you said it obviously with Dylan Gabriel at number 2 at the quarterback position. I just remember still watching in his first start, just being like, this, the things that you liked about him on tape, he's showing you right now. And then it continued, obviously, against the Rams. Gave you guys a lot of comfort with him to make the decision to trade Kenny. You got a nice offer for him there. But how has Dylan been in terms of stepping into that role? We've got a very youthful quarterback, and obviously with Joe Flacco there now in that quarterback room, and with Shedeur. So 2 young guys and the wily old veteran.
Yeah, it's quite the contrast, right? But
in many ways.
In very many ways, right? We've got a lefty versus a righty, 40-year-old versus a 24-year-old, a 6'6" guy versus, a 5'11" guy. So understand it's a little bit of a contrast, but Dylan's been awesome. He is, wise and mature beyond his years. He has outstanding preparation habits. He's very smart, and he fits what we want to do. He's highly accurate, a good decision maker, has enough mobility, has a good arm, can make every throw that we need, and we've seen him just consistently and rapidly improve over the course of training camp.
All right, one just says it's fun talking about 53, but that also means tough things had to happen. And obviously the kicker position, that was a tough one. Dustin Hopkins 2 years ago, we don't go to the playoffs without him. He was absolutely brilliant, gets rewarded with a contract, doesn't work out. Last year was a struggle, and now you guys make the decision to go with Andre Smith. I know that had to be a hard one for a variety of reasons. Can you just kind of walk us through that and how Schmidt gave you guys the confidence? And I thought it was big to see him get that field goal attempt at the end of the Rams game, because I don't know if this is true or not, but in my mind it felt like he was at least thinking, if I miss this, I'm not going to be the kicker. So that's as much pressure as you can have on a kick, and he put it, right down the middle.
So I'll start with Dustin. Dustin is someone that, not just for me, but across our organization, love and appreciate. Not just what he did for us during the 2023 season.
Great dude.
I don't know that there's a more pure-hearted human being that I've met, and quite honestly, a fantastic father and family man. So it's always hard in those moments where someone like that is leaving your organization, but Dustin will be really like a lifelong friend for a number of people in the organization, myself included. Dre, he really, from the spring, and we measure and track everything, particularly with kickers, because you only get so many in-game opportunities. Yep. Really, it was about the way he kicked from the day he came on campus, so to speak. I mean, he was really lights out from the spring to the summer, and then every opportunity that he was able to get, during the preseason. Plenty of leg. We think he'll be an asset with the new kickoff rule as well. And he's unflappable, with everything that he's been through in his career and personal life. And I think you could see that in the preseason with the situations that he was placed in and his ability to execute. So we're optimistic on him, but he did a fantastic job of putting him in that position where it made the decision clear to us.
Hey, B, we'll get you out of here on this one. No, you got to run. Greatly appreciate your time. What is the standard that you will hold this team to this year?
Yeah, so our standard is we talk about having, a tough and competitive team. That's the barrier to entry with our locker room. And we talk about being smart, tough, accountable, resilient, and team oriented. Like that's ultimately going to be our team identity. And quite honestly, like our focus is like whatever said externally doesn't really matter to us. Like our focus is, as Kevin says, going 1-0 every week and knowing ourselves and knowing our opponent, and how to ultimately win the game. So for us, we're very much blinders on, and our perspective is we're running 17 sprints, and we're going to do everything possible to maximize this week against Cincinnati. And when the game's over, we're going to flush it, and then we're going to move on to week 2. And if we do that and we can maintain that focus and that intensity and accountability to each other, we'll look up at the end of the year and see where we are.
I tell you what, I'm stealing the 17 sprints line.
It's
I'm
good.
using that on the kids,
Yeah.
on the youth sports. That's great. I love that. 17 sprints. Good luck, man.
Thank
It's
you
great
very
to
much.
see you here in studio.
Likewise,
General
guys.
Manager Andrew Berry in studio with us here on Cleveland Browns Daily. Play-by-play voice Andrew Siciliano going to join us coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
All right, welcome into hour number 2 of Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Add more fun to your fandom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today and get $50 in bonus bets when you place your wager of $10 or more, your first wager. Ballybet, an official sports betting partner of the Cleveland Browns. Joining me now, my partner in the booth on Sundays, the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, Andrew Siciliano, joining via the Twisted Tea hotline. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted, Cleveland, and they are an official sponsor of the Cleveland Browns. All right, Mr. Siciliano, first of all, how the heck are you?
I'm doing well, dude. Can't wait to see you. I mean, after practically living with you for a month, it's been like 10 days, so let's go. It's week 1.
My wife is very jealous of the fact that you and I have had more date nights together than she and I perhaps in the calendar year of 2025.
Like, we had 2 nights in Carolina. We had three nights in Philly, I think.
Yeah. Well, 4 really. Philly. Yeah, 3 nights in Philly.
Well, you had
right.
4.
Yeah.
I got there late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all were. And we did it right. I mean, we did it.
But you guys had the Labor Day weekend on the water.
We did
right?
have the Labor. Yes, that's
okay.
right. But there were 3 kids, a nana. There was all of that did lack the the electricity that we can generate when we're out there.
And now you got Pops coming.
Oh man. Imminent right now. He's imminent. He could be on approach somewhere over Lake Erie. Yeah, it's a happening. How are you doing, man?
Over Lake Erie. So he's coming in. He's coming in hot and landing at Burke.
No.
Isn't
they come?
The PJ?
Isn't that the way
you got
it
him
comes?
to PJ? Okay.
Yeah,
sometimes,
please.
yeah. I thought that you
from
now,
LA.
Mr. Big Wine Guy, maybe you got him to PJ and to Burke.
I could probably get him like enough. I'd be able to get him to walk on a tarmac, stand on the PJ, and then they'd be like, okay, now you have to get off. And then that's it. That's how far he's getting on a PJ on my dime. So here we are, right? Finally. It feels like this has been a long odyssey here. Let's start with just obviously the news of the day, which is we got Andrew Berry just saying that he's hopeful that Quinshon Judkins will be here soon, which would be, I think, music to everybody's ears. And then the other news, which I'm not worried about, and I'll tell you why in a second if you hadn't heard earlier in the show, but Myles Garrett DNP today with a hip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I mean, look, if this were like week 8 and it was DNP for rest, I'd probably breathe a little easier. But if you tell me that I shouldn't worry too much about it, then I won't worry too much about it. I've talked a lot in the last 10 days about not only for the Browns but for any of the 32 teams just getting from the end of the preseason where everybody is so careful. Like Sean McDermott said he wants to put Josh Allen in bubble wrap, not going to play him in the preseason, and didn't. But the window here, 2 weeks of practice before week 1 and after the end of the preseason, just stay healthy. Just get healthy and stay healthy. And, I didn't like to see that headline come across my feed today.
No.
But if you tell me that it's okay, then it's okay.
I do feel okay about it. And, Jim Schwartz did his press conference in between the walkthrough and the practice and was talking about Myles Garrett nonstop. So that makes me feel certainly a little bit better about it. As you've kind of gotten into your prep, and I'm sure you're ready to roll, I'm ready to roll. Let's get this game going. But what jumps out at you? And we'll start with when the Browns have the football against the Bengals defense, now coordinated by Al Golden. So not the same Lou Anarumo defense. We'll see what Al Golden brings from Notre Dame in his various collegiate stops. But what are you kind of looking for when the Browns have the ball against this Cincy defense?
So I think the theme of the week from any coach or coordinator, as you listen to them get on their respective podiums talking about any of the 16 games around the league, is unscouted looks.
Yep.
Right? So what exactly does Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees have up their sleeves, stuff they've been working on in the lab? You heard Tommy today when somebody brought up asking about Harold Fandon. Well, you kind of used him in some tricky ways in Philadelphia, and Tommy cut him off and said, what? No, I don't know. I don't remember that. What was that? So what have they been cooking up in the lab? Week 1 is that week where truly, no matter what the experts say, no matter what the public thinks is going to happen, anything can happen week 1. Because teams have 6 months to prepare. I mean, look what the Patriots did with a since-fired head coach week 1 last year in Cincinnati. They went in and beat the Bengals, and we see stunners like that every week. So I'm the guy that has faith in Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees cooking stuff up that is going to give Al Golden problems. That defense was not good last year. And the idea that you can just give Trey Hendrickson a couple of extra bucks, bring in a new defensive coordinator, and snap your fingers and say magically with Sam Hubbard now out the door that this is a better defense than one of the worst defenses in football last year, I just don't buy that. Now, obviously, the flip side of that is Al Golden's cooking up stuff in the lab as well. So we'll see what they throw at Kevin Stefanski. I'm excited for Joe Flacco. I am the guy, and I know I'm rambling here, that believes that he can still sling it. I know he can still sling it. We've been seeing this, and I think he puts up big yardage, like legitimately big yardage on Sunday.
Yeah, I do too. And one thing, I talked about with Kevin Stefanski, and we'll hear more from the head coach tonight on the Kevin Stefanski show, is if you're dealing with unscouted looks, it feels to me like it's probably a pretty good thing that your quarterback's in his 18th season. You got a guard in his 12th season, a right tackle in his 10th season who have been all pros. You've got another guard in his 8th season. Your center's in his 9th season, and then David Njoku's in his 9th season. So really the only guy that's young that's going to be out there on offense is DeJuan Jones on the line in terms of having to deal with some of these looks. I feel like that's got to be a little bit of an advantage for the Browns in a situation like this because they do have all that experience they can rely on.
Yeah, and I also wonder how much quick game is going to be used because, let's face it, DeJuan's only started 4 games at left tackle in the National Football League. He is going up against Trey Hendrickson. You don't want to leave him on an island. What does that mean on third down? I'd be surprised if we see a lot of Dylan Sampson in the backfield on third down. It's just it's a rookie thing. But plenty of him and moving around, I think, on first and second down. This team wants to marry the run and the pass. We know that. Yep. We know that when it does that effectively, this is how the Browns have scored points and racked up yards under Kevin Stefanski. So they have to establish the run early. How do they do that? And is it the traditional wide zone? Or is it more gap and power? How are they running the football? The flip side of that is you have to get to Joe Burrow quickly, and Jim Schwartz said that today. And it's not necessarily always going to have to be from Miles or from Isaiah McGuire or Alex Wright or anyone on that other side. You have to win up the middle. You have to take advantage of the revolving door. Now it's Lucas Patrick at right guard for the Bengals. Pressure in Joe Burrow's face. Force him out of the pocket into Miles' arms.
When you look at this defense, one of the things that jumped out to me as well from the Cincinnati Bengals is that this is a team that has lost some significant pieces really at all 3 levels, right? Sam Hubbard is gone up front. At the second level, Jermaine Pratt, who was their leading tackler, is gone. On the back end, Mike Hilton is gone. And you look at this linebacking room, Wilson's played a lot of football. Other than that, they're really, yes, they have Oren Burks, but he's never really been the guy. 17 starts in 108 career games. They have a lot of young guys. I feel like this is a game, maybe we go a lot of 12 personnel and try to bait them into getting a third running back on the field because their second linebacker, their second linebacker, Demetrius Knight Jr., is going to be making his NFL debut, second-round pick out of South Carolina.
Yeah, you want to put those guys in conflict as much as you can. Oren Burks obviously won a Super Bowl, and so he's got some experience there, but he's never truly been the guy.
Yep.
I would argue as well that that's something that Zach Taylor and that's something Joe Burrow is looking to do to the Browns.
Of course.
Totally inexperienced linebackers, but if Carson Schlesinger is out there wearing the dot, despite the fact that he has been everything and beyond that you can ask for, and when you listen, I know you hear this, to veterans talk about Carson Schlesinger, when they stop, they get asked about him, and they give an answer that almost catch themselves and say, but really, and their faces light up, the way this guy handles things in the meeting room, the way this guy brings the energy and the intelligence to the field, he's a different breed. But he's also in his first NFL start. And you are facing Joe Burrow, who doesn't have Joe Flacco's arm. I mean, Burrow said yesterday that he is in awe, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically that's what he said, of Joe Flacco's arm. Burrow doesn't have that arm, but he has as good a supercomputer in his head as any quarterback in the National Football League, and that's what Carson Schlesinger is facing in his very first NFL game.
Yeah, I mean, you think about from Carson Schlesinger's standpoint, you're going from Burrow to 2-time MVP and Lamar Jackson. You got to deal with Jordan Love. Then you got to deal with Jared Goff. get a little bit of a respite with, J.J. McCarthy because he's also in his first season, even though he's a second-year player, and then Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers.
You're going to have some guys who have a lot of experience trying to get that chess match going. You mentioned it. You've got to get to Joe Burrow and force the football out. If we are in coverage, though, we've got Denzel, you've got Greg. How do you see the rest of the stuff going there on the back end? And what are you going to be watching for in this game that tells you that, okay, we're doing a good job defensively?
Honestly, I'm going to take a deep breath here and say this is what gives me the most anxiety here.
Yep.
Let's compare it to the O-line. Anybody will tell you you're only as good as your weakest link on the O-line. I could argue that you're only as good as your weakest corner as well in the secondary. Now, you could do things to cover it up if you play a lot of zone, but obviously the Browns are not a zone team. The MJ Emerson injury, you got to get over it. It's next man up. You got to move on. Joe Burrow's a bad matchup, and he's got to take his shots. So that's what gives me the most pause. Denzel Ward has 2 career pick sixes. They are both against the Bengals. You need one of those here, or maybe not a pick six, but you need to force turnovers. And if they come from the pass rush and Burrow getting hit and that ball going up in the air or a tip or an overthrow, whatever, I don't care how you get them, but somebody in that secondary has to make a play. 4 interceptions collectively, and we know that, turnover drills, especially early in practice, that was the thing all through training camp. 4 picks as a team ain't going to cut it this year.
Nope.
But if they could get 2 in this game, they're going to win.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that is, you've got to turn the football over, and it's one that you've got to score. You look at the Browns, 6-10 in the last 10 against the Bengals, 31.6 points per game in the wins, 11 points per game in the losses. Yeah, you got to play D, but I feel like we got to go back to 2013 to find a game where the Browns beat the Bengals without scoring more than 20 points. This is one where we've got to score, and I think it's in some ways, yes, they've got the names on the marquee. Now the Browns do as well. Denzel Ward's a household name. Myles Garrett's a Defensive Player of the Year. We've got Pro Bowlers in Njoku and Jerry Jeudy, but it feels like our strength of our defensive line matches up with their biggest weakness, which is their offensive line. And then our other strength, which is with Joe Flacco as quarterback, and you can only go off of 2023, but the fact that the guy threw for 329 yards a game, threw for over 300 every game, is our vertical passing game, I think, attacks the weakness of their team, which is outside of Hendrickson, there's not a lot of proven pass rush. And on the back end, this is a team that has struggled.
There's a deeper conversation here about team building. I know Myles got the huge contract, and obviously the Browns spent a lot of money last year, as much as any team in the National Football League, when it just comes to the cash outlay. And the Browns have to go young in a lot of areas this year. 12 rookies on this team. But if you look at what the Bengals are paying to Burrow, Chase, Higgins, and Hendrickson, that is 41% of their cap this year, those 4 guys. It's $141 million. It is by far the most expensive top 4 on any roster in the National Football League. So what that means, first of all, those guys are all good. They're all game changers, and they all could single-handedly win the game for the Bengals coming up on Sunday. No questions asked. But the rest of the roster is beatable. So you need to win all those other battles here. You've got to. And the Browns guys making money, Myles notably here, they know this is the time to play. 2 years ago, when the Browns beat the Bengals, obviously, in the rain in 2023 and their first step towards making the playoffs, it was Myles who closed it out with that 4th down sack on Joe Burrow. You need those moments like this. And if you go back and listen to how loud Huntington Bank Field was under a different name that day, you need it that loud. This is kind of a joke, tongue-in-cheek here, but Jamar Chase just said on the podium, Nathan, about 10 minutes ago, that he's always wanted to do like a Lambeau leap into the dog pound after a touchdown, but he's not going to do it because, quote, I hear they stab people in there, which is hysterical.
Yes.
Obviously, kids don't do that.
No.
If somebody jumps into the dog pound.
That will not end
but
well for you.
You need that level
of
energy and noise
this
Sunday. You gotta. We're back. It's gonna be fall weather. It's gonna be like beautiful, like in the 60s, like get
crisp
to the Muni lot early and make some noise kind of weather. Like let's go.
Let's go is right. It's funny talking to Kevin Stefanski, talking to a lot of the players. That's what they all talk about. Get this crowd in there, get loud because. And I even talked with Joel Bitonio today. it really does affect an offensive line if you can be that loud on third down, if you can make it difficult for them to, if they have to go off the silent count, it helps your guys be able to get home, and especially you give Myles Garrett any kind of advantage, and yes, I'm talking about Myles Garrett, I believe he will be out there on Sunday, then that is helpful. You go back real quickly to the point you made about the roster building, and we went through this yesterday on the show. It's not from a lack of trying that this defense is as bad as it is. It's just, in some ways, they have not drafted well on this side. Their first-round pick this year, Shamar Stewart. We haven't seen him yet. You can't certainly criticize him. Miles Murphy, their first-round pick in 2023, the defensive end, has 3 sacks in 30 career games. Second-round pick, Chris Jenkins, a year ago. They have a third-round pick, McKinley Jackson. Now, Jenkins had 3 sacks, showed some promise certainly as a rookie. But you go to the secondary, DJ Turner was a second-round pick. Jordan Battle's a third-round pick. Dax Hill was a first-round pick. Cam Taylor-Britt, who allowed the most touchdowns and coverage in the NFL, second-round pick. I mean, that's, what do we list? 7 guys that are all first, second, or third-round picks that they've drafted on this defense, and they just have not been able to really turn it around. They had another one this year, second-rounder Demetrius Knight. Logan Wilson was a third-rounder. I mean, it's all homegrown, home-drafted, and unfortunately, it hasn't been very good.
Well, I mean, it's the old chicken or egg. It's the old coaching or scouting. Which is it? Are they drafting guys from big – look, the Bengals don't have a big scouting staff. I'm not taking shots. That's well known.
Yep.
There's kind of a joke that I've heard from some people, not really a joke, but just pointing out, hey, like if somebody's playing at 3:30 Eastern time on ABC, then the Bengals see them and they draft them, right? They're like draft the big school player kind of team. The Browns also drafted Michigan and UCLA at the top of the draft, I realize, and then Ohio State. I totally get it. But for whatever reason, they've never been able to put it together defensively, despite what appeared to be big school, big name talent that they are drafting defensively. Now, the flip side of that is Joe Burrow kind of makes everything look better on offense, especially with the skill guys. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. All big school guys as well. They're all talented players, and Burrow's fantastic, and those guys are all pretty darn special as well.
It is going to be fun. It'll be great to see you. What's the give us the itinerary?
Likewise.
When you get in here on Saturday and ready to roll?
In there Saturday, and can't wait to see you.
Oh, likewise, my friend. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think that we're just under the radar. We're way under the radar. We're not even just on the radar. That I think that we have a much better chance on Sunday, and I think like I said, our strengths match up with their weaknesses, and what a great way it would be to start the season with a big win over the Bengals. All right, travel safely. We'll see you soon, brother.
Hey, as Joel Bitonio said today, Week 1 power rankings don't matter. They don't matter.
Fact.
Worthless.
That's right, and they will be worthless, hopefully really worthless, around 4 o'clock on Sunday. That is Andrew Siciliano, the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, who joined us on the Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea Hotline. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, an official sponsor of the Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. When we come back, we're going to get a little bit here from Tommy Rees. Take a look at the Browns' offense. We talked about that quite a bit, so we'll go through this pretty quickly. But Browns' offense, Bengals' defense. We got some fantasy advice, some mailbag Thursday. All of that coming up. And don't forget to join me and Gerard tonight, 7 to 8 for the Kevin Stefanski Show, live from Local Bar on Pearl Road in Strongsville. Register to win Bud Light merchandise, the Browns gear, and meet Browns cornerback Greg Newsome, all brought to you by Bud Light. All right, let's hear about the offense coming up next. Think you know the ultimate Browns fan? Nominate a Browns super fan in your life now for their chance to win 2 tickets and an exclusive trip to Super Bowl. Is that 60? LX, how about that? In San Francisco, California. Visit browns.com/fan of the year to nominate today. Love the Roman numerals. All right, time for another matchup presented by Ballybet Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Let's take a listen to Browns offensive coordinator Tommy Rees talking about the Browns offense against the Bengals defense.
You're down 6 minutes.
The weeks when he's really had time to spend with the offense.
Yeah, you see his intensity continue to show through. It was great during training camp, and then it's been fun to game plan and prepare and get ready for opponents. A lot of open dialogue on comfort level, on how we're going to protect things, on seeing different things. So when you have a guy with as much experience as he does, there's a lot that you can ask of the quarterback, and he owns that role. And he's still great with the guys, giving them confidence and providing just a calming, presence for all those young guys that are playing for us.
Learn about Al Golden and his scheme, and that I guess it was 1 year he spent on the same staff at Notre Dame.
Yeah, really like Al. What a great dude. Did a great job at Notre Dame. Obviously, I was following it, being my alma mater, so happy for what he did there. But very diverse in his defensive scheme, has answers to try to take away what you do really well, put those guys in positions to have a lot of success. Brought an advanced way to look at defensive football to that group, and obviously had great results. And I expect him to do the same, in Cincinnati.
Going from college to pro, do you have to sort of project even more than if it was somebody going from like one job to another at the same level?
Yeah, I do think making the jump and projecting what they're going to use and what they're not going to use. And college offenses can be run a little bit differently than pro offenses. Obviously, the field dimension of the hashes, and some formations are allowed, some aren't. Running court, there's a lot of elements to the college game that don't always apply. So it's definitely trying to look at what they defended that really applies to how it can translate. What are their core beliefs? What are the things that they hung their hat on, and what could we potentially see, throughout the year? So, again, a lot of defense from Al, which he had answers to a lot of different sets and answers to things that people do well. And, his group is always very well prepared, and expect more of the same in Cincinnati.
The challenge in game planning when he didn't show anything in the summer, and so diverse, he's got a big toolbox. So what's the challenge facing you guys offensively?
Yeah, I think, you try to find a blend of, you always want to do what you feel like your team operates well, and try to hone in on what our offensive identity is, what puts our players in position to have success, while also, being mindful on their scheme and mindful on the different areas to allow your players to go out there and play fast mentally. So for us, it's, we spent time digging through years and digging through film and trying to, piece together what applies, piece together situationally what can apply. And but again, it's really about our guys operating what we do at a high level, giving them the tools to play fast mentally, and so we can go out there and operate.
Saw Harold so involved throughout training camp and the offense and what you guys are trying to do. Just a couple trick plays that he was involved in at times. Just
I don't remember the trick plays. Must have been somewhere else.
How much of a weapon can he be for you guys this season? How much are you looking forward to sort of integrating?
Yeah, Harold has done a nice job for us. Has learned it well, has executed well. He's made plays for us when we've asked him to. He's done a really nice, there's been a lot on his plate. That position by nature, when you're kind of that move tight end, you're typically asked to line up in a lot of places. So as many variations as he's had to own, as mentally he's done a nice job with it. And then, again, our goal for all of our players is when they get out there that they can really simplify their thoughts, simplify what they need to focus on, which allows them to execute and play fast. And, for him, with the volume we've asked him to do, he's found a way to do that. And CJ's done a great job coaching him and getting ready to play. And Dave, as a veteran in that room, has put his arm around him and helped him through some stuff. So really pleased with Harold, and, excited to see how it continues to progress.
You have Jerry Judy, and we know what he brings, but what gives you confidence the rest of that room, very young guys, that they can step up and play the level you need them to?
Yeah, I think those guys have different skill sets that we can utilize in different situations. And, Chad and that group have done a great job of really owning the different movements, the different things that we've asked them to do. owning the roles and responsibilities of each guy, which can be different. I look at it as piecing things together to really add up to a sum of a whole, and all of them have had different strengths, throughout training camp, and all of them, especially some of those young guys, like when their numbers were called, whether it was in our practices, joint practices, preseason, they made plays, and we're excited about that group. They're definitely a group that works extremely hard at it to get the details right, to get things accomplished both in the run game and the pass game. So, like I said, Chad and Bravo have done a great job with that group of getting them ready to play, and we do feel like we can, really have a strength in numbers there.
What gives you confidence in Dylan as your backup quarterback? What did you see in him that makes you feel good about this heading into this game?
Yeah, the processing that he's applied to the game. I think when he's had his opportunity in the preseason, we've seen him operate really efficiently within the offense. So, look, Dylan has put a lot of work in. He's been thrown in there in different settings with different reps and different opportunities against good competition. Played in the preseason. So, continuing to build those opportunities for him are important as the season goes on, and continuing to develop him to get him caught up to speed. But there's a poise there with him that does give us confidence in his ability to execute.
Short yardage back?
We do.
Sanders?
We got 3 backs that we feel like can go out and get us a yard.
Tommy, you have a pass rusher like Hendrickson that you have to account for. It's not one person's responsibility, but since he lines up on the one side, how much of a test is this going to be for him and going forward, I guess?
Yeah, he's a great player. He's led the league in sacks for a reason. Plays with an extremely high football IQ, has good rush plans, good movements, can finish, through traffic, can finish around traffic. So, you're right in saying it takes everyone. It takes the receivers getting open. It takes the ball coming out on time. It takes the guys that are going to help in protection. All of those pieces add up to a successful protection plan. And then, we got to challenge DeJuan to own his one-on-one matchups when those are called.
All right, that's Browns offensive coordinator Tommy Rees with some very good answers there, good evasive answers, and also, he believes all 3 of these guys can get a yard in short yardage. I think if you just look at it from a size standpoint, you'd say, okay, I think probably the bigger back will get that short yardage work. We'll just have to see on Sunday, but I like this matchup. This is not a good defense by any stretch of the imagination. They were giving 350 yards per game, 25.5 points per game. They were bad on third downs. They were bad in the red zone, third worst defense in the red zone, allowed the third most first downs in the league a year ago as well. Protect Joe Flacco, run the football, hit those shot plays when you get them. Let's go. Browns putting up big points on offense. That's definitely part of the path to see this team to a victory on Sunday. When we come back, we'll talk a little fantasy football, and we'll get into the mailbag as we wrap things up here on Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. All right, welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily. The Cleveland Browns High School Game of the Week presented by Ohio Cat showcases the top matchups and rising stars across Northeast Ohio. Each week, fans vote for the game they want to see, and the winning team earns $3,000 in funding plus spotlight coverage on Browns social media. Gibbe, before we get to a little fantasy football talk, can you jump in here and give us a little update on the injuries?
Yeah, I can tell you the Bengals don't have anybody.
Well, that's nice for them.
Ours is plentiful. But yet not worrisome. Jack Conklin got a Veterans Day off today. The concern I would think right now might be in the linebacker room. Diabate limited again with a quad, and Mascarenas Arnold did not practice with an Achilles, they're calling it. So I'm a little worried about the linebacker room. Obviously, yes. Miles DNP today. Mike Hall back limited, which was great. In terms of other guys, I mean, most of these guys, Denzel was limited. Blake Whitehart was limited.
No, I'm not worried about it. Anybody who's limited.
I think we're going to be just fine there. And then the other guys back to full practice, just dealing with some minor little things. Posick, a full participant today, is a good thing as well.
Yeah, it's a very good thing. You're going to have your starting offensive line out there against this team, which I think is important. Like we said, some of those unscouted looks, all of that. Seeing how it goes, having those veterans, I think, will be very helpful.
All right, it is week 1 in the National Football League. We do start tonight with Thursday night football, which means time for a little fantasy advice from Dr. Z. We're not going to tell you who not to play, but maybe can you give me a handful of guys that you should play this weekend?
Yeah, going in this game, I'll just say tonight, I think both of these tight ends have good opportunities, Jake Ferguson and Dallas Goedert. You really want to start kind of everybody on the Philly side of things. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. You like what they're doing there. I think for Dallas, CeeDee Lamb, obviously you play. Ferguson, you play. I even think Pickens could be all right. And thus, if that's all true, Dak Prescott's got to be all right. I'd stay away from the Dallas running game so far this weekend as well. I'm saying not this weekend, but tonight, because I just think that's going to be a tough one for them. We don't really know what that running back room is going to look like yet. I don't think there's any reason to get into it. Quarterbacks, basically, early in the season, you draft the guy, that's who you're going to roll with. Guys who I think maybe I like a little bit more than perhaps where they were. I think Bo Nix is a good start against Tennessee. Kyler Murray against New Orleans. Drake May against Vegas. Those would be some guys that I like a little bit more at the quarterback. But if you drafted Hurts, a Daniels, an Allen, a Jackson, a Burrow, Mahomes,
any one of the top 5
you're playing your guys. Some of these situations, like, for example, Denver, you can play R.J. Harvey at running back this week, but I think you want to kind of maybe see how that's ultimately going to play out there for Sean Payton. In Washington, we don't know exactly what's going to happen there. We know Eckler's role is the safest in terms of in a PPR league. We don't really know beyond that what that's going to look like. We don't know, if it's going to be Bill Krosky-Merritt. We don't know if it's going to be Chris Rodriguez. We don't know. In Houston, that's going to be running back by committee. Nick Chubb obviously seems like the lead back. They like their rookie. Woody Marks will be more involved in the passing game. So some of those things are tough to see how they're going to ultimately play out. But right now the good news is you're healthy. The guys you drafted to be your starters, they're your starters. I like Jaylen Warren against the Jets this week. DeAndre Swift against Minnesota I think should be a good start as well. I'm trying to go towards the bottom area here. I think you roll with Marion Hampton, obviously, if you drafted him at running back. Wide receivers.
I'll give you some wide receiver news out of Houston that's not great. Christian Kirk down. Got hurt. Estimated at least 1 to 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. And he's out. Braxton Berrios is out.
Well, Jaden Higgins, their second-round pick, then, is going to play a big role.
It also
right
sounds
out
like
of the
Jalen Noel, the rookie, will fill in on returns and slot.
Yeah, so I think that puts Jaden Higgins firmly into some lineups this week in that game against the Rams. I certainly would. I think that he's got an opportunity to make some plays. So that's an interesting development there. Good, thank you for bringing it to our attention. That's got implications. So that's deeper league, or a league that starts a lot of different guys, a lot of different roster spots. He's somebody now as the number 2 receiver there and on a good offense that I think is going to have an opportunity to maybe score more points than perhaps you think. For the most part, though, you want your guys, guys that I'm higher on. I think Xavier Worthy's going to have a really nice season, especially with Rasheed Rice out early in the year. Jacoby Myers is back there in Vegas. He's the number one receiver there. Both of your guys in Detroit, including Jamison Williams. Emeka Ibuka I like a lot. If, in fact, you're not seeing Godwin early in the season, I think DK Metcalf's going to be really good with Aaron Rodgers. As much as I hate that, I do think he's going to be good. But those are some of the guys there. And then from the tight end standpoint, this was an interesting year. I think Colston Loveland, you people who drafted him, you got to wait for him, but get Ferguson in there, get Goddard in there, get Zach Ertz in there in Washington, get Evan Ingram for Denver in there this week. Those are some good starts. Tyler Warren, I think, is ready to go week 1 for you. But you're going to want to wait on Colston Loveland a little bit. And I think our own guy, Harold Fannin. Obviously, the Chief is a must-start, but Harold Fannin, not bad. And where you can really help yourself early in the season is by being smart with your defense. This is absolutely a week to get the Arizona Cardinals defense. Absolutely. Love the Arizona Cardinals this week against New Orleans. I like Washington against the Giants. I like the Steelers against the Jets. Those are some, I think, the top defenses to go with this week if you're streaming there.
All right. And this now from Jamar Chase in the Bengals locker room after practice. Said he's always wanted to jump in the dog pound, but he won't. Quote, I heard they stab people in there.
Yes, Siciliano
there we go.
Mentioned that one earlier, Gibbe, but yes, no, we'll refrain from that. None of that allowed.
Come on now.
No. We're
lovers.
Lovers here in Cleveland. That's right. Lovers in the Midwest.
You might get a beer dumped on you if you jump into the dog pound and you're not supposed to be there.
Uh-oh. Pedro has landed.
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know how to wrap my head around that. Is he coming to the coach's show tonight?
I think so, but what are we going to do from 5 to 7?
Let's get him to the bar. Let's get him some shots. Let's really get wild and crazy.
That's all we need.
Bobby time, rapid fire.
Yeah, Bobby had some good ones.
I got 2 minutes. Do you think it would be easier to run for 1 yard or throw for 1 yard in an NFL game?
Throw.
What is something your kids used to do that you miss? I feel like this is...
Think I'm awesome and want to be around all the time.
Would you rather live in the Lord of the Rings universe or the Harry Potter universe?
Definitely Lord of the Rings.
Gross. If your dad had to move in with you, would you allow him?
No. Tarvs! Let's go, baby. There he is.
I haven't seen Tarvs. He's been in the cave.
He's dialed. He's so locked in.
If you were okay, I'm not going to ask that, Bobby. If you had to move back, could you move back to your hometown?
I could. I prefer to move a lot of other places.
Fair. Love a dog today. How long do you chew a piece of gum for?
Ooh, I can get a couple hours out of a solid.
Depends. That gum that the great Allison gives us, there's a shelf life.
Oh, I could take I for sure go. I've had one piece of that, the orange, the Mentos, go a whole 18-hole round of golf.
That's insane. There's no way. I can go like an hour with that gum.
2 hours easy.
There are some types of gum. I'm looking for a garbage can easily 3 minutes in.
No way. That's because you're getting that strawberry one. It's got nothing.
Strawberry one's good. I like the orange.
The orange is great.
Yeah, I don't besmirch any of the flavors. That's today's mailbag. So much more to come.
So much more to come here. Again, join us. Gerard Cherry, yours truly, Greg Newsom, Pedro, not Pedro, Sue, Gibbe. G-Man going to be there?
I gave G-Man the night off. He burned the candle at both ends, multiple ends. He was here last night late with Eddie and Gerard.
G-Man will not be there, but the rest of us will be live from local bar. I heard Holly's going to be there on Pearl Road, Strongsville. Register to win Bud Light merchandise, Browns gear, meet Greg Newsom. All brought to you by Bud Light. All right, we'll be back. So much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. All right, again, join us, Kevin Stefanski Show, myself, Gerard Cherry, Gibbe, Pedro, Greg Newsom, live from Local Bar on Pearl Road in Strongsville. Register to win Bud Light merchandise and Browns gear, all brought to you by Bud Light. NFL season kicks off tonight. Enjoy it, folks. Here we go. The 2025 NFL season. The Browns kick off in just 3 days. ESPN Radio is next.
You've been listening.
You're done.